What's up, Fiends and Sworn Nation? Jimmy Coffin here for Coffin Comics. Thank you for joining us for the Sworn Club interview. Today we're talking to Steven Butler. We have our honor and privilege to have him here with us today here at HQ. Let's go talk to him right now. He's working right here on remarks that might be in your hands right now. Okay. Steven Butler, hey, how is it going? I'm doing great. Second day here. I'm excited. A lot of energy here, and glad to be a part of it. Doing some remarks right here for you guys. Well, literally for the fans, I suppose. I don't know. I'm doing a lot of them. So yeah, this is a pre-record video that we're doing. This is going to be airing a couple weeks later. And but while you're here, we've been doing the artist celebrations with you. We've been offering a bunch of remarks, and we have not seen you here at HQ ever before, so it's the first time here. What's your take on HQ and Coffin Comics? I love this is the way I would describe it. This is a hive of high energy, high octane activity, and I love it. I called my wife yesterday and I said, this is the kind of place that I could thrive at, because it's the same kind of energy that I have on my own. But working on my own at home is completely different than working here. Whenever you're working around a lot of other people and they carry that same vibe, that same energy, man, it just feeds, it just feeds you. And so yesterday was this is my second day here. Yesterday we got a lot done, and it's just spilling over into today. And so I got a lot of remarks to do. Got like I think 50 of them to do, and I'm just really got started on today's remarks. But if you want to watch me draw some, I'll be more than happy to. And this, you are remarking one of your covers here that you've done in the past. This is I think I did this back in 2020. Yeah, so I did several of these Wonder Death pieces, and this is one of my favorite ones. I love drawing horses, and so this was a lot of fun to do. All right, I'm gonna put my remark right in here, and I just usually do a face of Lady Death, and this is completely straight up drawing on the paper here and the only thing that I've really found that would really take to this type of cover stock is good old Sharpies, and so you can't go wrong with those. But you kind of gotta know where the lines go ahead of time, because there's no room for erasing with this. So I just go in and kind of attack it. But I did a lot yesterday, so I'm kind of still in that same groove of working on them. So what's your philosophies on remarks? Well, I didn't start doing them until fairly recently, within the last couple of years, and when I found out that they were kind of a thing, with collectors and stuff, and I just I looked at what some other guys had done, and I said, if these guys are paying for these remarks, I know they're special to them, and I know they're a collectible thing. So I want to give, they're made to be quick and made to be, just a really just basically like a doodle, on the cover to make them unique. But I still try to put extra stuff in there to make it worth their while. Always try to think of the customer, the fan that's getting this, because I know I want it to be special for them. So anyway, there's pretty much the drawing done really quick. I think I do these around 3 minutes a piece, something like that, 2 to 3 minutes, and then I sign them, and it's done. It's ready to go. Takes you 2 to 3 minutes, but it takes you a lifetime to learn the skills necessary to do so. Yeah. So yeah, that is the remark in a literally in a nutshell, and I've got what for you to do. This is the to do box. This is the already have done box. So we're well on our way. Oh yeah. I still got a lot to catch up with, but I should be able to do it no problem today. So
So we were mentioning in the lunchroom yesterday that you're working with your daughter.
Yes, my daughter's name is Lily, and we do. She has followed her dad, dear old dad, in dear old dad's footsteps, and is working in comics herself. Now, up until now, she's worked with me primarily on everything that we've done. We've done a few jobs for Marvel and together, and a few. We've worked for an action figure, like an independent action figure company, and produced some artwork for the action figure company, like box art. I think they call it card art for them, and some children's books, things like that. But the thing that we're most proud of and most excited about is our own comic that we're putting out by ourselves. It's a comic about Celtic mythology, and we're using anthropomorphic animals, kind of like a Sonic the Hedgehog vibe, because that's the comic that I worked on whenever she was so little, and she loved it, and so we just kind of went with that same format, that same style whenever we created our own characters. Really excited about it.
So the legacy continues.
Yes.
The bloodline continues.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, I haven't really done a whole lot of research, but I think we're probably the only daddy-daughter team working in comics currently. I may be wrong. If somebody knows of somebody else, feel free to correct me, but I'm pretty sure that if we're not the only one, I know it's rare, so.
Well, you're the top team in my mind.
Fantastic. Awesome.
So how did you meet Brian Pulido?
Oh my goodness, man, we go way back. I didn't meet him until way after I'd been working for him. I met him I'm sure at some convention that I was at. I'm gonna do a little bit of extra while I'm talking here. Got a little whiteout pen here, and I always like to put a little bit of extra in it, so I'm gonna go in and make her eyes white. Right here, but I did work for Brian back in the Chaos Comics days. I know I did several pieces for his like lingerie books, like pinup pieces, and then I did some interiors for him, some interior stories for. He had a book called Chaos Quarterly. I worked in some of that, and he had a comic of. Dave Mustaine's Megadeth, Cryptic Writings of Megadeth, I think it's what it was called, and I did several issues of that, and I did something called Evil Ernie versus the Superheroes, where it was like a parody of all. That was a lot of fun, parody of a lot of superheroes and stuff done in the in the fighting Evil Ernie and stuff. It was a lot of fun to do, but yeah, that was back in the 90s, I guess, mid to late 90s, I guess. And then we kind of, as things go, I started doing my own thing. He was doing his thing, and I heard back from him 2011, 12, something like that. I had just started posting my stuff on Facebook, and I think he must have seen some of the commissions that I posted, and he contacted me, and I think that was right at the very genesis of whenever he was starting Coffin Comics, and he asked me if it would be okay if he used some of the material that I had drawn for him previously, and I said, sure, man, like, go ahead, and so, and he did, and then I started hearing about how well he was doing with Coffin Comics, and he just called me up one day, or texted me one day, and asked me if it would be okay if I would do some homage covers for him, because I think he had seen, because I had done some of that as commissions, for private commissions for people, homage covers, and he said, I would kind of like for you to do that, but substitute Lady Death in the place of whatever character that we're doing the homage cover for. And I said, yeah, man, that's right up my alley. I'd love to do that. And so we started off with the Marvel monsters, the 1970s Marvel monsters like Ghost Rider and Monster of Frankenstein, Dracula, Werewolf by Night, and that's what started it. And 4 years later, here we are. So it's been a really, really cool ride.
The amazing thing about your homage renditions, they're not just like they're a true, like a new work of art. So it's not right. It's not like you've done, like you're just kind of I don't know.
Well,
it's just like it's next level. It's not just.
Well, I'll go ahead and give you the trade secret of how I work. And Brian was the one that told me about this, and I just kind of ran with it. What I do is I will find whatever cover it is that he's wanting. This was Wonder Woman #1, I think, from way back in 1940, I think. Or 41, I can't remember. But anyway, most of these covers are easy to find online through images, and so I find them. I get a good picture of it, and then I print it out, 11 by 17 size, because that's the size I normally work in. That's the size of comic book page work, and then I put it on a light box, and then I light box it out just the basic shape, because I know that Brian wants it to look as accurate to the original. He wants people to see it, and in their mind it takes them back to the original. Hey, that looks familiar, kind of a thing. But after I do that, I set the photocopy aside so I can have it for reference sake, and then I just start drawing in. And of course I have to change certain things. Like these were Nazi soldiers that I changed to demons with horns and stuff. This is Lady Death's horse, and thank you. I couldn't remember the name with the horns and stuff, and he sent me reference for all of that. And then what I do is I go in and I draw Lady Death, but I modify her every time to reflect whatever character it is. Like here, I changed her hair to the curly hair that Wonder Woman had back in the 1940s, and then I go in and I work on her costume. And of course, Lady Death's whole shtick is the Death's head, the skull and stuff, and so I find a use for the skull in every cover that I do. And in here I just replace the stars, or the eagle's head, and then the stars in her pants, and here with a Death's head, and we're off, we're off and running, and so everything here, the layout and everything is from the original cover, but it's modified to the new specs of Lady Death. And all these characters back in the back are different versions of Lady Death that I had already drawn in other covers. I just kind of put them together, because you can do that kind of stuff,
It truly is a fresh update of the original art, and bringing it to the current age right now.
And plus I also have to be mindful of the era that this was drawn in, so I've got to I don't want to stray too far from the style, and so I have to mimic what was going on at the time, so there's this. I think it helps that I'm a lover of comic book history, that I'm able to work on these different styles from different times. Like take a look at this one. This one is taken from Silver Surfer #4, I think it was, where Silver Surfer was fighting Thor, of course. And of course this is Hell Witch, and I think at this time I designed even the logo for this one to match the logo for the Silver Surfer. And of course I always draw Marvel always had those, what we call them, corner box illustrations, that has a picture of the character in the corner. And so, you want it to be as accurate, as possible. And not only accurate, you want it to be eye-catching. And man, I tell you what, whoever the artist, the color artist on this just did a fantastic job. This is one of my favorite ones. I think it's one of the later ones that came out. But again, this is two different styles, but it's still accomplishing the same goal. So
yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, it's almost like you're also preserving the history of comics by updating it, and then for new people who've never read the older comics, now they can go back and have an appreciation for the
exactly. This
original artists.
These recreations might be the very gateway, for a lot of people to get hooked on, where they came. Okay, now that I've got this, I want to collect the thing where it came from, the inspiration for this. So you never know what kind of inspiration or imagination you might be sparking, in the audience that's looking at this stuff. So I never want to take that stuff for granted. It's all cool. All right, so I've got a bigger spot here that I can play around with, and so I'm just going to go in with the black. The only time I use something other than black is when the background is black, and because I want people to be able to see what's going on in the remark. And here's another thing: I try to do something a little different with each remark, so every one of them is unique. They're not copycat, clone type things. I want each one of them to be unique,
So how'd you get your start in comic books?
I always wanted to work in comics as from a little kid, and I drew pretty much all the time, and I guess I was good at it. I mean, I was constantly doing stuff at my school. I was the guy that painted or that did all the posters for the football team and cheerleader posters and that type of thing. And I painted signs when I was in school for the local businesses and stuff. There was a time on Main Street in my hometown where I think I painted every business storefront that was around. This was, again, I'm dating myself. This was early '80s that this was going on. But I went to college at the University of Southern Mississippi. I'm a Mississippi born and bred, deep South Mississippi, a little town called Lucedale, close to the Gulf Coast, just west of Mobile, Alabama. Is where I'm from, and so whenever I graduated high school, I went to college at the University of Southern Mississippi in Hattiesburg, and met some friends up there who had like-minded. They were in the comics as well as I was. One was a fellow artist. His name was Mitch Bird, who a lot of people probably know because he's went on to do some really, really cool stuff. Really great artist, fantastic guy. I met him, and we immediately said, hey man, we need to do something together. We try to pool our resources together and maybe submit something to some of these comic companies, because it was at the time in the 80s where Dark Knight Returns and Watchmen and all the Alan Moore Swamp Thing, all that stuff was coming out, and it was an exciting time. It was a rejuvenating time, and the independent companies were out there, and we were really excited, and we were hungry to get into the business, and so we started submitting samples to different companies. We didn't create like characters or anything. We did. We used our own characters, but it wasn't like we were, banking everything on the characters we were doing. We were trying to get into the business, and we kept getting, hey guys, your work is really good and keep at it, kind of stuff. But we hadn't broke in yet. We were like right there on the cusp. Met another guy by random chance at USM. This guy's named Roland Mann. A lot of you guys probably would recognize that name as well, because he went on to work for Malibu, and just did a lot of editorial work for them. But anyway, we all worked together. I'm just going to sign it with black. We all worked together and created a title called Cat and Mouse about cat burglars in New Orleans, and started mailing it off to different companies, and started getting those same kind of polite rejection letter type things. But we heard from First Comics, and First Comics said, we like your ideas, but what we really want is this one guy that's inking the Cat and Mouse book, and it was me. And so they and I was doing another book called Silver Storm, and I had penciled that one, and that's what they were looking at, and said we would like to work with this guy, and that's how I got the job drawing the Badger for First Comics. I was working at a bookstore, Bookland, at the local mall in town, and Roland handed me the phone. He said, they want to talk to you, and I got on the phone, and in like 2 or 3 minutes I was talking to Mike Barron, who wrote the Badger series, and then within a week I had my first script to work on, and then within a couple of months I was able to quit my job and work solely on comics, and I've been doing it ever since. I haven't ever went back to working a 9 to 5 since then. So it's been that start. I was like 23, 24 whenever that happened. That was 89 whenever I first broke in. And again, I worked for First Comics for a year, a little more than a year. I'd say closer to 2 years, I guess. They went out of business, but I had already met some editors at Marvel who liked my work and wanted me to send some samples in, and it was just, there wasn't any, it was boom boom. I went from one company to another just like that, and I worked for Marvel for 10 years doing books like Silver Sable and the Wild Pack. I did a lot of Punisher, Warzone, but I'm mostly known for the Web of Spider-Man. I was the guy that, I didn't create the Scarlet Spider, but I drew his first appearance, and so he's a kind of a big deal now. At least it seems like he is. I know that he's still paying my bills for me. So I did that for 10 years. After that, got married, started having kids, took a different route and started doing kids books. And so I started working for Archie Comics and did Sonic the Hedgehog for them for 17 years. I raised my kids through that, and I also worked for Disney Adventures magazine around the same time. Worked on several like faith-based comics production, but it was all in that all ages type of younger readers type of thing. I did a McGruff the Crime Dog comic for the government for like an anti-bullying program for schools, and so all of that was in that same time frame, and it was this again. That leads us up to now, where now I'm mostly just working for myself. I work for the public. I do a lot of commissions for people, and Brian has become one of my closest working relationships that I've had since I've started doing these covers, these homage covers for him, and I'm a freelancer, so I work for pretty much as many people as I can. Bills got to be paid. I love doing that, and that's another thing I guess I should talk about, is that as much as I love doing this, I know it's a job, and so I've got to treat it as such, and take it very, very seriously. The job that I do, and I want to do my best work on everything. I can't draw just when I feel like it, because the bills get paid. I mean, the bills have to be paid. They come in all the time, so I have to make sure that everything's squared away. Plus, I'm a father of 4 kids too that still live at home, and so I'm responsible, and so I have to take care of my family.
So what's your daily schedule look like?
Usually up pretty early. I used to be a night owl whenever I was younger, and slept late. But the older I get, the more I think it happens to everybody. But I'm usually up at around 6:30, something like that, and start my work day at around 8 o'clock, I guess. Back home, and now the hours that I work is usually, I don't get off at 5 like most everybody else. I have a studio at my home that I go to, and it's separated from my home, and so but it's in my front yard, so I just walk to work, go in to eat lunch and stuff like that. But it's nice to have something that's separate from the house, so I can get my work done out there, and don't have to worry about anything but work until I come in. And so I usually work about 10 hours a day, I guess, on average. But here's the difference. That you might say, oh, that's a lot. Well, when you love what you do, the time doesn't really, sometimes I can get lost. My wife says, oh, Steve's in the zone again, Look, and that's that. She knows how it is with the art stuff, because sometimes you just get lost in the flow of the work, So.
How do you? It almost sounds like you have to stop yourself from working, because you could just work. You can work yourself to death.
Yeah.
But you just set your alarm.
My wife, that's who keeps me from working all the time. Sometimes she's literally, okay, dear, that's enough. You're putting in more than you're getting paid for. You're beyond your pay grade right now. And so she's my voice of reason when it comes to that, because I'll give and give and give and give and give, because I love what I do so much. But I've learned, slowly but surely, that that I have to pace myself.
Well, thank you so much for spending your time with us, talking to us.
Yes,
any final words
great.
to everybody out there that's watching?
Keep buying the Coffin Comics product, and keep buying these homage covers, because you guys are the ones that keep me employed doing these things. So if you like them, keep supporting Brian and Coffin Comics and all of the products that he puts out, because again, like you said, Jimmy, this I see this as more than just commissions. It's more than just a job. It's basically a testament to my love for the comics industry, my comics history. And whenever you have one of these, I think you got something special, and it's something that you can connect to the history of comics. So it goes a little bit beyond just a regular run-of-the-mill homage cover. So there you go. That's my 2 cents.
Awesome. Thanks again.
Yes,
Appreciate it. And thank you for coming out to HQ. We love having you here. And
Great being here.
You'll be coming back again in the future.
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. Thanks again, guys. We'll see you later.